this video will show you 3 powerful ways to love yourself unconditionally. I'm going to share with you ways that you can apply in your own life today to start to see yourself as somebody that is worthy of love and actually being yourself. Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you those 3 ways that you can apply in your life that can really allow you to love yourself 100%. Now understand that when you love yourself 100%, you then give the opportunity for other people to love you as well. Now there may be some people that love you no matter what, that are unconditional with it, but many times we get a reflection of who we are being. So if we don't appreciate who we are, and we're not focused on what we're grateful for ourselves, and many times people will kind of be blind to it. Understand that when you go out into public, you are projecting your self-image out, and the emotions you feel about yourself are contagious to other people. So to have magnetic energy and to really have the ability for people to love you, you must first love yourself. Now, normally, it's kind of counterintuitive. You would think that in order to love yourself, it's more about taking on these new perspectives, of piling on, these things that are good about yourself, and that can be powerful. But the key is not so much on the piling on, it's more about the letting go. You see, the reason I say this is because love and unconditional love is actually our natural state of being when we are born. Now, I know that sounds kind of weird because, it seems so unnatural for us to love ourselves, but understand that that's based on conditioning. We have been conditioned to not love ourselves. We've been conditioned to have all these rules as to how we can love ourselves and why we should or why we shouldn't. We've had all these magazine companies and all these advertisements that show the perfect models of how we're supposed to be. And if we're not, we need some type of pills. We need some type of weight loss formula in order to look exactly like them. You see, but that's just conditioning. That's not really true. We think it's true. We might think it's true. We might buy into it. And that's where some of the pain might come from. But love is our natural state of being. I believe that love is everyone's natural state of being, that when we put labels in our mind, when we're focused on other perspectives, we create barriers between ourselves, and that causes a lot of the problems we have in the world. But get back to the core of who you are. And the reason I say this is because when you realize that your natural state of love, it's less about trying and it's more about just letting go. Letting go of perspectives that no longer serve. Letting go of all the baggage that we may have been carrying around. Imagine you've been walking around with other people's baggage, other people's beliefs. Of when we grew up, we were picking up these baggages, we were walking around with other people's beliefs and we're lugging them around on our back, and it's so tiresome to bring them everywhere we go. But now what we're learning is that we can let them go, that they're not really even our beliefs. They were just things that we picked up that we thought we identified with. We thought, oh, I'm supposed to pick this up. I'm supposed to carry this around. This is what everyone else is doing. Everyone else is carrying luggage around, looking tiresome. I'm supposed to do the same thing. But what I'm encouraging you in this video is that you can let that luggage go. You can realize self-love is your natural state of being, and that as you start to understand this, you can let go of everything that doesn't serve. Now, the first powerful way to really love yourself is to forgive yourself. Now, of course, you can forgive other people for everything they've done, but let me tell and share with you the most powerful way I found to forgive other people and to forgive even myself is having the perspective that wherever I was in my life when I made a certain decision, that was where I was at. And that was the decision I needed to make in order to learn and come to where I'm at now. So in a way, you can be grateful for where you are now. Even if you're like, I don't love myself, be grateful that you're there, because if you didn't feel this emotion, you wouldn't have the desire to move beyond it. You wouldn't have the desire to bring this unconsciousness into your awareness to then take action to move through it. So that's where a lot of power is. Now understand first off, that people that do things to you always do it from their own level of rationalization. They have justified what they're doing in their own head. They've said, this is something that I need to do because of my current beliefs. Maybe they didn't say that consciously or out loud, but they said it at a certain level. Maybe someone stole from you. Maybe they took something from you and they lied about it. They did that from their own level of rationalization. They, in their minds, made it okay because of maybe some limiting belief, or because they didn't believe that they had the abundance to do what they wanted to do, or because they believed that they had to bring you down to feel good about themselves. You see, whatever it is, it's from where they were at. A lot of times we take on the beliefs of our parents, but understand our parents did the best that they could. And even if, I had an ex-stepmom that was very abusive, she learned that from her dad, and she was just reacting that and putting that on to me and my brother. And unfortunately now she's put it onto my half-sisters, who have to deal with it because they're actually related to her, you know. But the idea is that that's based on her own level. She's made it okay, you know, her controllingness, the way that she is, it's okay for her to be like that in her own mind. And the moment I realized this was the moment I was really able to forgive her, because, you know, my dad divorced her when I was about 15 years old. So from 9 to 15, I was around her all the time. You know, me and my brother were just always doing work outside. We weren't allowed to have friends. We weren't allowed to do anything really. We were always in trouble for something. And she was just a very angry person. All of a sudden, 15 comes around, we're allowed to have friends. You know, we're allowed to watch TV. We weren't allowed to watch TV in those years. We were allowed to do things that we were deprived of for so many years, and we were all excited about it. But it took me a couple of years to forgive her. But what really made the game changer for me was I realized that someone that abuses someone else has been abused. And they wouldn't even really admit that they're abusing because they're just right. That's more about their ego being right. You see what I mean? So in that same perspective, that is a perspective I had that really allowed me to forgive her, and then also to forgive myself. I had to forgive myself by realizing and asking the question, why did this happen? You know, I had to trust the process, and that's what really made a big difference for me. But when you have the understanding and the awareness that people always make decisions based on their own level of rationalization, it makes it so much easier for you to let go of any baggage you have towards someone else, and realize that if you have baggage towards someone else, it's still within your own energy. It's still something you are carrying around. It's the luggage on your back, even though you think it's about someone else. So let go of it. Heal it with someone else, heal it with yourself, and understand you did the best that you could for where you were. But now you are grateful because now you can actually decide to go in the direction that you prefer. So forgiveness for most people is the most powerful thing you can do, because when you forgive, you emotionally heal yourself and you allow yourself to let go of those patterns so that then you can be the way that you prefer. Now, the second way is also very powerful, and it's something I'm currently learning about myself. Now, it's having an understanding that we work in the sense that our mind has certain rules as to when we can feel certain emotions. It's almost like we give ourselves permission to love ourselves when certain things have happened. You know, for me, I have a strong ambition to be successful, to be able to give back to people. You know, the more successful I become, the more resources I have to give to other people to help other people raise along the journey as well. That's my perspective, right? And I realize that sometimes I have these rules as to when I can love myself. How much work do I have to put in? I have these rules of when I think other people will only love me if I do certain things. You know, I have people in my family that probably wanted me to go to college. And I went to college for 2 or 3 years, but they probably wanted me to get and become like a lawyer. You know, I did forensics debate in high school. I was very good at speaking. I enjoyed it. I wanted to be a lawyer, but then I kind of realized that I didn't want to do that. I realized that a lot of the lawyers that I either knew or read about were really unhappy people. Not all of them, but you know, some of them were. And I just realized that it's probably not the thing I'm most passionate about. I could have easily gone to school. I could have done really well. I did well in school when I was in high school and in college, but I realized it's just not for me. And I had, people in my family. My uncle was an entrepreneur who had no college education. He was very successful. And I just kind of, I knew that I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? But people in my family wanted me to go to school because that was like the thing to do, right? And I used to have these rules that I had to fit within the categories in their own mind of my family members in order for them to love me, and also in order for me to love myself. So it's like a self-perpetual thing. But this is what I've learned recently, is now that I'm, growing and I'm starting to become successful, the idea is what I'm focused on now is more so loving myself for the sake of loving myself. I've switched the rules in my mind. This person will love me if. This person will love me if. Two, people will love me because I am being myself. I love myself because I'm being myself. I don't love myself because I'm doing XYZ in life. I love myself for being me. That's the main rule that I think is so powerful. That's what I encourage you to do, is to look at the rules you have as to how you can love yourself and how other people can love you. And make it simply, you can love yourself for being you. That's all you need, is you to be yourself. That will allow you to realize and start to see that you don't need to give yourself permission only when you do XYZ and all of these things. All you have to do is be yourself. Get to the core of what that is. understand the more you do it, the more you'll feel it. Just start to really have that understanding, and you will start to resonate with it more. So the first two are all about letting go. Now the last one is about focus. Now the reason I say this is because many people are focused on the things that they've done wrong in the past. They're focused on what could go wrong in the future. But what I'm saying is focus more in the present moment and knowing that you can feel grateful for what you already have. You see, when you're grateful for what you already have or who you already are, that leaks into the past. That leaks into the future in a powerful way, because with focus comes momentum. And if you're currently focused on things that you haven't done well in the past, or even you haven't done well right now, what happens is that leaks, because then the thoughts that resonate with you are times in the past when things didn't go right. And when you think about the future, you're like theorizing or thinking and of all of these things that could go wrong based on what you're focused on in the present moment. So right here in the present moment, what are you grateful for about yourself? You might be grateful for the little things. You may be grateful that you got up today and you did something that you said you were going to do. You checked it off the list. You may be grateful that you were being yourself in the moment. You're expressing yourself more every day. You may be grateful for amazing connections you have with your family members. Whatever it is, focus on that gratitude, and the more you focus on it, the more you feel it, and the more that will leak into the so-called past and future. But really, you're just going to get more of a reflection of who you are being in the present moment. So if you feel negative emotion right now from focusing on negative aspects of yourself, first off, be grateful that you are aware of what you're thinking of. Be grateful that you are aware of that, because that's when you can change. You can't change when you're in the subconscious mind or you're in those repetitive thought patterns. So now that you know this, start to shift your perspective. Start to put I choose in front of everything that you're thinking about yourself. You know, if you're like, I'm not worthy, say, I choose that I'm not worthy. I think, you see, because when you say I choose, you then realize you don't have to choose that. But if you have a belief that says, this is the way things are, that's set in stone. That's from the point of limited perception. But if you say, I choose, whatever that is, then you're like, oh, do I want to continue to choose to believe this? Is this something I prefer to believe? And then you can change it to what you actually want. This is so powerful for taking back your power, understanding as you do that, everything changes, and then you can actually be who you prefer to be. So remember, this whole process is about loving yourself in a very powerful way. You know, I've created a very powerful subconscious mind MP3 meditation that you can listen to before you go to bed. And the way you can use it is you can focus on the perspectives of having that self-love, of feeling that gratitude. And that meditation is specifically intended to give you ways of using what's called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, in order to bring more of your self-image of who you prefer to be and really amplifying those emotions. So you can listen to this right before you go to bed. You can start to feel more love within yourself for who you are, and using it in that way will allow you to reprogram your subconscious mind so that you get the reflection that you want. So I'll leave that in the description. It's absolutely free. You can download it, listen to it every day, and it's something that can help as well. But remember that most of this process isn't about taking on new perspectives. It's about letting go. Let go of the rules you have as to how you can love yourself. Let go, have forgiveness. Let go of the perspectives that say, this person did this to me, or I shouldn't have done X, Y, Z. As you start to do that, everything will change, and then you can focus on the gratitude for who you are. As you do that, you'll find that you have more perspectives. You start to think in the past in a powerful way, think of the future in a powerful way, but mainly, you just become present to the moment, which is where all the magic happens. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already. Also, hit that little notification gear so that you're able to see the daily vids that I do. And other than that, as always, I will see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, namaste.